Welcome to the Haney Biz Project with Mark Haney. Mark is a serial investorpreneur and the chief dreaming officer of the Haney Biz Companies. He's working tirelessly to ignite the entrepreneurial revolution and share the inspiring stories of the region's most influential leaders. Coming to you from the Marquee Media Studio, here's Mark Haney.
If I never look behind me, my troubles will be few. I'm here with Marcus Haney. This is the Haney Biz Project. We are on a mission to ignite the entrepreneurial revolution right here in our hometown of Sacramento. We do that by telling the stories, the entrepreneurial stories, the stories of winning. In many cases, it's not so easy. There's always these ups and downs, that trough of sorrow, as I like to call it. But we have to battle that, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. But today, we're also going to be talking about routines. What are the routines and habits that entrepreneurs use to get through their day, to kick off their day, to be banging, right? To be at their very best, at their very best opportunity. And I'm here with my main man, Marcus Haney. How you doing, Marcus? You hanging or banging?
I am doing fantastic. I am banging. Well, I just want to say today is your 55th birthday.
5-5.
How does it feel? Are you going backwards like you've always talked about?
I worked out twice today already, and I have that attitude of I am going counterclockwise, right? So I have some good habits and some bad habits today. I took care of some good habits, hopefully getting in a little bit better condition to make up for some of the habits that are not so good.
So what does a guy like you at 55 ask for his birthday?
Oh, well, it's a good question. One thing is, I'm kind of superstitious, and we're talking about these habits that we have, these routines. And I'm a routine-driven guy, right? So every morning I give my wife a hug, tell her everything's going to be all right. So I'm hoping today is no exception. We got the show, but my superstitions lead throughout the day, and I'm wearing my lucky panties.
Oh, good.
So it's a show day, so I'm wearing my lucky panties, but we've been doing this show for, how long has it been? About
two and a half years?
2.5 years now. So these lucky panties, they're getting a little worn.
Oh.
So I'm hoping, Marcus, you asked, what do I want for my birthday? I need some new lucky panties.
All right. What color?
I don't know, but would you like my old ones?
Does that mean I'm banging or hanging? I don't know.
So we're talking about routines, right? You are an entrepreneur. You are the marine-trepreneur, a marine who has become an entrepreneur. How do you start off your day so that you are at your very best opportunity, so that you're winning?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that as entrepreneurs, we all face that challenge of time, right? How we allocate our time for ourselves and for our best resources. But I like to try to put things in a line where I can take what's most important, driving revenue first, and then I try to let everything else falter down the hill from there. But I'm not really that good at it.
It takes a while. You're still young, my friend.
Yeah, I got Jimboy's over here who's 32.
We have young entrepreneurs. We have older entrepreneurs like myself. We all do it a little bit differently. And I always preach on this show, maybe not always, a lot. We have to as entrepreneurs, we have to over-communicate the mission. Right? We have to over-communicate the vision. We have to over-communicate so that our team and our constituencies, they rally around the cause. Well, today being my birthday, they got me a card and all that kind of thing. And I got a nickname as well. It's basically the horse, right? And I mean that because Lauren, my right-hand girl over here, she says, Mark, you have a bad habit of beating a dead horse. So, what that means is over-communicating, I suppose. So anyway, we have this little code word. Yeah, how does it go again? Anytime I'm beating the dead horse over and over and over, so that the point where she is sick of it, she just makes this little horse sound. And it reminds me to shut the heck up, to move on from that subject. That's what I'm going to do right now. We are going to move to the Marquee Media Moment. We know that I was in Cabo for this opportunity to motivate, right? I am now a motivational speaker. Not just a radio show guy. I am also a motivational speaker. And I went down to Cabo with my buddy John Stump.
Flint Builders,
right? These guys need to be motivated, and they are motivated. I think by the time I got done with my motivational speech, they had already tripled the size of their company. Like after that, it is going so fast. But I have these pre-game rituals. I have this pre-speaking rituals. So we're in Cabo, San Lucas, and we're having lunch, and I'm kind of getting ready. I'm going to go down and talk to the guys and try to get them fired up and stuff like that. And out of nowhere, this young man comes to me. He's probably about your age, maybe a little bit younger, Marcus, and he said, "Hey, you're Mark Haney, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, how you doing?" "Yeah, I know your nephew Andrew. Yeah, we used to play football together, and now I see your billboards all over Sacramento. And I'm like, all right. Guy recognizes me from Marquee Media. And he's like, you know what, Mark? Yeah, I'm going over to the snack bar. Can I borrow a few bucks? And I'm like, oh, sure, no problem. So I gave him a few bucks. And I'm just in my glory there, all fired up because the guy recognizes me. I'm walking down the stairs to give the speech. And all of a sudden I realized, hey, Stump had put us up in an all-inclusive place. And I was like, thanks, Marquee Media. I appreciate it. Coming up after the break, we're going to meet Erik Freeman, the man behind the All-American Taco House, Jimboy's Tacos. We will also meet someone who routinely delivers ready-to-eat meals, the founder and CEO of Food Jets, Darren McAdams. But coming up after the break, we will meet the power couple of Sacramento Catering, Randy and Lisa Peters. Join the revolution at HaneyBiz.com, brought to you courtesy of 5 Star Bank. This is the Haney Biz Project.
Now back to Marquee Media Studio and the Haney Biz Project with your host, Mark Haney.
Welcome back to the Haney Biz Project, brought to you courtesy of Comstocks Magazine and California Backyard. I'm Mark Haney, and today I have the privilege of having the power couple of Sacramento Catering, Randy and Lisa Peters. You guys have an event center. You've got catering all over the region. And I've got both of you on the show today. I'm going to start with you, Lisa. Okay, tell us, what is this organization that you guys have built over the years?
Well, now that both Randy and I are here, I'm kind of wondering, okay, how's the business running?
Yeah.
Is it okay?
You must have a team.
Yes, we do. We couldn't do it without them. So it's nice to be here. But what was the question?
Give us an overview of the organization.
Oh, gosh. We're full service catering all over Sacramento. We now have the event center. So we have 3 banquet rooms there. We have over 35 employees. We run daily, 7 days a week. It's pretty exciting.
Well, yeah, we were talking earlier, who's running the show with you guys here? But, I mean, that begs the question with the duo like yourselves, how do you break up the duties between you and Randy? Who does what?
I think
How do you decide what he does, basically?
I never decide. Are you kidding me? I never decide. Randy does what Randy wants to do. I've learned that. But I think we both have our talents, you know? Yeah. And Randy's definitely the creative one. I'm more of the numbers person. I'm very structured. He's all over the place.
Yes.
So.
But he is a chef, I assume, because he did this elaborate catering event for the Entrepreneurs Organization at my house. And there was fire, there were flames, there were drinks of all sorts. I mean, it was like the event of a lifetime. There's only like 10 or 12 of us there, plus the wives. But, I mean, it was great. Randy, what do you do there? How do you keep this thing? You're the creative person. Is she's the organizer?
You know what? We work very well. Lisa is the CEO, president of our company, and I'm the cheerleader, and I'm the creative guy, but I'm the motivational guy. I would rather laugh than be serious. I'm always in trouble in the manager's meetings. She's like, you got to get serious. I go, okay, you got it. But we're trying to teach people how to be leaders of the future. When people come to work for us, we have 9 of us sitting at our manager's table. We're trying to teach them to make decisions. And we're trying first to teach them to be sustainable towards the team members, the employees that they're over. Secondly, to make a profit. Because if you're not going to make a profit, quit, leave, don't do it. Because you're in it to make money, but you're in it to make sure that the employees can cash their paycheck every other week. And so we're really teaching a lot. And then there's a lot of joy when you take somebody that doesn't have a clue what's going on, and after 6 months or a year, they are very good at what they do. They know how to go out to a client. They represent you to a client. You get a phone call from a client goes, man, that was a great experience. The food was wonderful, but really what was great was that service and that server that you sent me.
Well, it's amazing with service these days. Exceptional service, it seems like it's less and less out there, right? There's less and less exceptional service, but I know that's what your company is all about. And I wonder, okay, how do you get that? What routines, what habits go into making you the successful entrepreneurial duo that you are, Lisa? But also, what do you do? But what do you do with the team?
Well, I think it's society that has dropped our standards of service. So it's our own problem. We've created it. But what Randy and I try to instill in our employees is that we are in the service business, and to have a servant's heart, to really meet the needs of the client before they even know they have a need. And not everybody can do their job. And it doesn't matter who you're serving, but do it from your heart. Really care. Treat it as if this is your own home and guests are coming into it, and you're just making sure they're satisfied. Yeah. And they get it. They really
Randy,
truly get
he
it.
wakes up in the morning and he is motivated.
Yeah.
Being around Randy, it's like, I think it's a little bit like being around me. It's like a guy with a ton of energy. What do you do, Lisa, to get yourself fired up in the day? Like when you get out of bed and you're going to tackle the day, what do you do?
Well, from now on, I'm coming to Haney Biz. That's how I'm going to get my energy, because just walking in this place, you get energized. But I think it's the employees that energize me. I really love seeing the employees when I walk into work, and we work a lot of hours, but we love what we do. We have a passion for it. So yeah, you get those burnout times, but when I see an employee and they've got a smile on their face and they're doing a great job, I'm happy.
Put yourself around motivated people. I agree. So, Randy, how about you? Tell us about what you do and what advice you might have to others about how to, start the day right. If you're an entrepreneur out there and it's not always easy. How do you put yourself in the right mindset to go tackle the day?
Really, if you're going to own a business, you need to understand that you are the leader of that business. People are looking at you for their energy and for their excitement, and you need to stay very focused on the fact that you want to make a profit. Number two, you want to bring in new customers, but you want to go through a training facet. You want your people to emulate what you're about, all the way down to the dishwasher. When I walk in every day, I come in through the yard, I walk into the warehouse, and the first person I'm seeing, unless one of the warehouse people are saying, "Hey, Rand, I'm going to the dishwasher," I say, "Buddy, how are you?" And I tell that guy, "Thank you for working today. I am so thankful that you're here today, because you have the worst job we have. It sucks back here." So I just relate to each person in. But when I walk in, I check in with each department. I go to each office. I say hi to everybody, make sure that they're cool. And then we rock and roll. We go. We do what we got to do.
Well, leading or managing by walking around, it's such an important way of doing it, leading by example. But your success has not come easy. Talk to us about the progression of the organization, because you guys used to own the restaurant right down the street. You've had a ton of success, but you've also battled. Talk to us about your battles.
Sure.
You know what? You're going to have failures. And if you let a failure take you down, maybe you ought to think about doing something else. In our industry, in the hospitality industry, I'm in my 50th year, believe it or not. Maybe you're looking at me and go, "Yeah, I believe that." But I'm in you are going to have failures, and it's how you handle that failure. Almost 97, 98% of every complaint in our company, I get the information from our people. I go to my office, I shut the door, I meditate, and then I call that client, and I let them know, we blew it. And I talk and I do whatever it needs to be done to win that client back, to explain to them. And after I hang up, most of the time I'm crying because I failed that client, because I made a promise. And not only did I fail that client, I lied. And so we teach that to our people, that you have to go for 100%. I want perfection. I know that I'm not going to get it every day, but you can interview and talk to and speak to any one of the people that work for us, and you ask them, "What are you looking for today?" They go, "I'm looking for perfection. I'm looking to be the best I possibly can." We know we're going to have failures, but you just continue to go. That goes from the product we put out, to the service we get, to the profitability of the company, to the design of the building. When people walk into our event center, it's showtime. It is lit up. It's put together. The bathrooms are perfect. The kitchen. People love to tour our 2,200 square foot kitchen now, because most people don't see a kitchen that's that big.
Yeah, that building, that event center, downtown Roseville, 105 Vernon Street. I'm familiar with the building. I spent a lot of time there myself.
Yeah.
Who is the vision behind that event center?
Randy
again. Randy taking over. Well, just thinking about that, you talk about the little failures. Randy talks about the little failures, or maybe a customer complaint. Obviously, they're huge if you treat it that way. But what are the bigger overarching hurdles that you guys have had to face in this journey, Lisa?
Well, I think that we all faced some difficulties in the downturn, 2008 and up to 2010, I guess, 11. And so that was difficult, but I think we just restructured. Mm-hmm. We looked at our product and how we could restructure it. We were heavy into builders at that time. A lot,
Okay.
big percentage of our business was builders. Well, that just dropped like nothing. But we were heavy into medical too. We're just going to heavy into medical. So you just kind of restructure.
Who's
and
the customer base today? Who's your biggest customer? Because I know you
Oh,
deliver
gosh, we
like
do it-
thousands of meals a day,
well,
right?
there are different types of customers. You know, you have your corporate day in, day out drop-offs, and then you have big on weddings.
Okay.
Weddings, celebrations of life, birthday parties, graduations, all of it.
Well, we've had some great events over at your place. Obviously, that is my old building, video stores and that kind of thing. And then you guys acquired that and you've transformed the building, but you've also, I think you're in the process of transforming downtown Roseville. But Randy, just thinking about building this business, what you've obviously done so much in the last 24 months, but what does it look like? What's the future look like for your catering company?
You know, we want to continue to put a lot of emphasis on the event center. It's not nearly tapped enough. So we're still getting that out there. But believe it or not, I've got three concepts that I want to do. I've got a Mexican concept, a barbecue concept, and the bistro concept. And, you know, you just got to keep going. You just got to continue to develop and move forward. And really, when you share those visions with your employees, they get so excited. So we're always talking about where we're going and what the timetable is and what's going to happen. And they enjoy it. They see the successes. When we just brought in Rayleigh's 2 years ago. We were awarded just last year, not 2 years ago. This is our second year. We're doing their big thing that they do for 250, 300 people. Our people were so excited about that. They just loved the fact that we were awarded that we did this, you know, we do these tastings, and one of our banquet rooms is called the tasting room, and it sits right off the kitchen, and so our clients can look into the kitchen, and, you know, they love winning. And so they know, we share with them. We tell them, hey, this is what this is going to cost. This is the financial aspect. This is what's going to do. We just did an event, and after major events, we run the profitability on it, and the chef will come up, look at this, look how much money I made on this one.
Yeah.
And that's developing team, and that's developing people for the future.
Well, one last question, because we only have a little bit of time. Lisa, I'm going to throw this over at you. And I think any couple that's out there thinking about how they might work together, right? You know, and how do you separate it, and how do you figure out how to get decisions made? It sounds like you've separated duties, but I mean, what advice could you give to any husband and wife group that are thinking about going into an entrepreneurial venture together?
Wow. Randy and I have been working together a long time, and I think, number one, you have to have respect for one another, and that you're going to do things differently, but keep your goal in front of you. And though he may go a different route, excuse me, than I might go, we'll still end up at the same spot. And just really respect each other.
Respect and keep your eye on the goal. I want to thank you, Randy. Thank you, Lisa, for coming on the show today. Thank you for what you're doing for Roseville and the overarching region. You do so much for the community. Coming up after the break, we will meet Erik Freeman. He is the man behind Jimboy's Tacos. Join the revolution at HaneyBiz.com, courtesy of Audi Rockland and DCA Capital. This is the Haney Biz Project.
Welcome back to the Marquee Media Studio with Mark Haney, igniting the entrepreneurial revolution with the Haney Biz Project.
Welcome back to the Haney Biz Project, brought to you courtesy of Hub International and Legion AVS. I'm Mark Haney, and today we are here with the man behind Jimboy's Tacos, our favorite taco place, Erik Freeman. How you doing, Erik?
Hey, how you doing, Mark?
I'm doing great. Thanks for joining us today. It's an all-food show. Talk to us about Jimboy's. We all know that you guys have great tacos, but where are the locations? What's the business look like today?
Well, let me actually take you back because we started in 1954. My grandfather started it out of a trailer.
Wow.
He was actually the theme of, and I'll just get ahead for a second.
That's like an old-time food truck, right?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
And the theme of his success really was stubbornness. He struggled for the first 3 or 4 years up in Tahoe, but he kept bringing the family back. He kept bringing my mother back, my uncles back, and they all had to work out of the trailer. And then from there, it started to take off. And then from there, he went into Sacramento, and we've been here ever since.
Well, my first experience is at Denio's Farmers Market and Auction. It was probably about 50 years ago. I ate my first Jimboy's taco. But the business is not just one or two taco stands now. What's it look like today?
No, today we're about 40 locations strong. We're looking to open up about 10 more this year. We have about 3 that are opening up in Southern California. One is open up right across from Disneyland in Anaheim.
All
Another
right.
is opening up in Huntington Beach. Another is Irvine, and then Brea. And they're all in Southern California.
Well, the Jimboys that I've been to all have a similar food menu. Is that what you're doing with all of your franchises?
Well, yes, it is the same essential food products. Our signature taco is never going to change. Most of our items never change, but we are constantly in the process of trying to evolve and adapt to the market needs.
So thinking about Jimboys, the journey obviously is important, but how did you jump into the game, Erik?
Well, I'm a family member.
Okay.
So
it wasn't handed to you on a silver platter, though, I have to assume.
Well,
Or
you
was
know,
it?
no.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, for my grandfather, he was a very, very strong man, a stubborn guy, but also very, very strong, very good man. His vision was really you had to earn your place, and you had to work harder than everybody else. You had to put more into what you needed to do than everybody else. Actually, being a family member in some ways is a hindrance in many respects. You have to earn your spot.
Yeah. You don't necessarily get the starting spot just because your dad's the coach, right?
No.
So thinking about that, you grew up in Folsom, and talk to us about your ascent through the organization.
Well, I started out actually a little differently. I knew that what the company needed and what I needed to really understand business was through numbers. And so I double majored in accounting and finance and then went the public accounting route for a little bit.
Okay.
I kind of came out to a crossroads back in 2012 of deciding whether I should stick with public accounting in Seattle or should I get into the family business. I was drawn back to Sacramento. I was drawn into the family business, and I made that decision to just go for it. From that point, I really filled, I think, a need that the company needed, which was through numbers and through accounting and through finance and through strategic business planning.
Well, speaking of strategy, what are you're opening up stores all over the place. What's it look like? What's Jimboy's going to look like in 5 or 10 years?
10 years, we're going to be 500 stores strong.
Wow. What's the key to that growth?
It starts with your team. It starts with a unified vision. It starts with everybody being on the same path, same vision every day. And we're talking about it, we're driving for it, we're grinding, and that's what we do every day.
Same path, same vision every day. What's a day in the life look like for Erik Freeman? How are you? I call it banging, right? When we're at our very best opportunity. So many times that happens when we have good habits, good routines. What's that look like for Erik?
Well, it starts back with the team. So, every quarter, every year, at the end of every year, we all agree to what we're going to do. From there, then it goes into the quarter. How do the quarterly goals, how do the things that we agree to on a quarterly basis match up to the annual? And how does that happen? And then from there, we then go into individual goals. And then from there, that's how I crack my day every day. I open up my book, I go through it, and I write a list of the things that I need to do, and I then decide on which ones are the most important that are going to achieve the company goals.
Make a list, work the list, write it down, and revisit some of the markisms that we use around here. That's so important. I believe that the routines are what keep us on track in life. But you got to have some bad habits too. What's a bad habit look like for a guy like Erik Freeman?
Bad habit is just letting something take me the wrong way. So, and this happens to everybody, but sometimes there's an emergency that comes up. Sometimes there's something that just takes up too much of your time, and it's the time killers. And really, the hardest part for me is being able to put that aside and go back to what the most important things are in every day.
Well, selling franchises, right? We have Food Jets coming up, and they are getting into the franchise business as well. You're creating entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial opportunities. Talk to us about what it takes to become a Jimboy's franchisee.
Well, to be a Jimboy's franchisee, you have to be an entrepreneur. We're in the business. We're a franchisor, so we work with franchisees, which means that we're working with entrepreneurs every day. Our customer is the entrepreneur, is the franchisee, and then beyond that, it's how do we help the entrepreneur, the franchisee, make money. But so we have to understand their customer, which is at the store level. We have to understand how they can compete, how the employees can compete, and then back to the franchisees. So to get into this business, you really have to have one of the first things that we look for is the culture of you and your entrepreneurship spirit. That's the number one qualification for us.
Yeah, thinking about that, the biggest troubles that these franchisees may run into, it's hard to find good people, right? Are we facing that right now where especially people, these are entry-level type jobs as we surround ourselves as a franchisee, you're hiring people at close to minimum wage, I assume. How much trouble are we having finding those workers?
It's very difficult. It's very difficult right now. It's not just about the wage. That's really that is only one piece of the factor. It goes down into I think what a lot of people are looking for is what does a career path for them look like. A lot of things is how does an employee become a franchisee? How do they become a manager? How do they grow within the company? And they want to understand their relationship with the team. They want to understand the relationship with the manager and then with the owner. It's very difficult to attract people to be able to come in line with that. But how you overcome it is understanding what people are looking for when they're working in a company, and wage is only one part of that.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show today. We ran out of time a little bit, but I mean we love Jimboy's Tacos. Randy Peters came on. They brought us some cookies that were really good. And I thought we were going to bring us some tacos, but that didn't happen today, Eric.
Next time I'll bring the wagon.
That means we have to have you back on the show. Bring the wagon over. Hook up the Haney Biz team with some tacos. We will hook you up as well. Eric, again, I love Jimboy's. I love what you're doing over there. I'm glad you're taking over for Gramps and carrying the Jimboy's name moving forward. When we return, I will be joined by Darren McAdams, the founder and CEO of Food Jets. Join the revolution at HaneyBiz.com, brought to you courtesy of Chicago Fire and Apex Appraisal Services. This is the Haney Biz Project.
And now, back to the Haney Biz Project with investorpreneur Mark Haney, coming to you from the Marquee Media Studio.
Welcome back to the Haney Biz Project, brought to you courtesy of accounting firm Clifton Larson Allen and the California Growth Advisors. I'm Mark Haney, and today I have the privilege of bringing on Darren McAdams, the founder and CEO of Food Jets. How you doing, Darren?
Good. How are you, Mark?
So for those of you that don't know Darren, give us a little bit about you and what is Food Jets?
So last time I was on the show was 2016 in March. We have launched Food Jets. We were into it, but kind of go back a little bit. 1993, I started Food to You in a garage in Citrus Heights, California. Food to You is a restaurant delivery company. We deliver restaurants to homes, businesses, and hotels. So fast forward, we scaled that company, 6 states, hundreds of cities, thousands of restaurants, tens of millions in sales. And we were running into a problem with technology on the Food to You side of things.
Okay.
So in 2015, we decided we could have been bought out by Grubhub or compete. So we decided to build technology and try something different called Food Jets. So we were running Food to You at the same time, and then we decided to build Food Jets. Food Jets we had a bunch of cars. We took out everything in the cars. We added electrical. We had hot bags, meals, and it was basically quick curbside delivery from local restaurants in less than 10 minutes with free delivery.
Yeah, I see your cars all over town.
Totally. So, but as all you entrepreneurs out there looking at, you're thinking, okay, we had a warehouse, we had cars, we had employees, and then the leftover food. So we opened up in downtown, Arden and Natomas, ran it when I was here last time, so March of 2016. We were running it, burning through a tremendous amount of cash for us. And 3 months later, in July 1st, we stopped it.
Okay.
So then what do we do, right? How do we compete with the big guys coming in? Because we're not talking just big local companies. We're talking Amazon, Uber, DoorDash, Grubhub, billion-dollar companies with the technology and funding to come in to deliver food. I didn't know it was going to be such a hot space, 23 years later, but it was. And so on the Food Jet side of things, we built this wonderful technology. And then we had Food to You still going. So we merged the two. We decided, okay, let's drop the Food Jets platform onto the Food to You restaurant delivery system.
Okay.
And compete. So we did. We spent years building the Food Jets platform. We consolidated everything, and we launched in December of 2016. We paused it, but launched it back in Sacramento with Food to You restaurants on the Food Jets platform.
Gotcha.
We're still running Food to You in all these cities, mind you. So it goes extremely well. Moving forward, I had an investor at that point that was going to bankroll everything. I had all my eggs in the investor's basket. He had just sold a company for a tremendous amount of money and kept telling me he was in. Took us down to the wire. So here's the entrepreneurial story, right? It's the thing that keeps us up at night is financial stuff. Mm-hmm. And so fast forward to about August, he kept telling me that he's going to give us money. And on a Sunday, I said, Bob, I'm just naming him Bob, we need the money now. And so he flew to Europe on Monday, sent me a text Monday morning, and said, I'm out. And this is after a long period of us jumping through hoops for him. He's already a current investor. He's a family friend and a mentor of mine of 20 years, and he flies to Europe and says no. So
what's the emotion at that moment? You're like, you're counting on that money. You are counting on Bob, and now Bob is no more.
Bob's no more. So we're not a super small company. We have hundreds of people now, families. We've been doing this. Everything's on the line for me and everybody else in our office. And the feeling is, so he said no, and I scrambled a little bit to try and get in touch with him through his assistant. Tuesday morning, so I'm waiting for a call back from him. He won't talk to me. He just texts me. My sister walks in. She dropped out of college in the late 90s. She's been our accounting person, and she runs our accounting department, and she goes, we have till Friday. So at that point,
what day was that? What day
this was Tuesday morning.
Tuesday, you have till Friday
to make payroll, rent, everything.
Oh,
so and we've gone through this before. We went through it in 2008, 2009 for the economy reasons, and we had to regroup, restructure, and do all that stuff. And if you haven't been through something like that, it's a weird feeling. It's for about 30 seconds, as I was telling Greg earlier before the show, I feel sorry for myself for about 30 seconds, right? It's just like, what am I going to do? This is horrible, blah, blah. And then I go to like fix it mode. Okay, what are we going to do? So my sister's standing there. She's telling me this, and it's a weird thing. And I go, all right, I don't take a paycheck. I'm done. Everybody else, half salaries. I call it work more, make less, right? Mm-hmm. So everybody, all on my team, it's work more, make less to make this happen. So having such a short runway, I have till Friday. You see those scam emails that come in about quick financing for businesses. I always delete them. Yeah. Well, I called the guy that's been hounding me. I see this thing come through, and it's basically a loan shark loan. I need cash now, and I did it. And I did it at 33%, which is outrageous. Yeah. They take money out of your account every Wednesday, but it
about 30% more than it ought to be, right? Or 28% more than it ought to be.
But I had, what else was I supposed to do? I had to extend that runway for us for breathing room to kind of regroup and to seek other funding, and I had to do it.
You bought yourself some time.
Bought myself some time, for sure. And so I'm all in already. I'm already personally leveraged. Everything I have is on the table. So what do I do next? Mom and dad. Mom and dad come in the picture, which is weird. Grown man running a business for 20 plus years.
How old are you, if you don't mind me
47.
asking? 47, okay.
So I've been doing this forever, calling my mom and dad. They kind of knew what we were doing and just saying, hey, here's where we are. And my sister's involved. She's been with the company forever. And so they loan us money. My dad's retirement, all the stuff. They just go all in. And so it extends our runway anymore, even further. And so at that point, obviously, I have even my own stuff on the line, and now I have my parents' stuff on the line. So it's just, it's incredibly stressful. And like I said, we just worked more. So I worked from that point forward for 6 months straight, except for Christmas. I worked every day about 15 hours, 7 days a week. And a lot of my team did as well. So what had happened at that point, that forced us to look at the business model. We can't scale on our own now. We don't have the capital. So what do? Franchising. I had done a little bit of licensing back in the day. And so long story short, I was stealing somebody else's franchising document. I shouldn't say stealing, borrowing.
Yes, you were.
Borrowing, reviewing.
Yes.
Came across a guy named Mark Johnson. He's called Franchise This, out of Virginia. He's been in the franchising industry for about 25 years. He's responsible for Jackson Hewitt, Liberty Tax. He sold 10,000 franchises on these companies. Sent him an email. He called me and flew out 3 days later from Virginia. We really got along. He sold built a company just like Food You and Food Jets in Virginia called Order Up. It was a franchising company. Sold it to Groupon. He thought it was premature on the exit side of things, so that's why he was excited that I contacted him in the same space, and now he's ready to go. So he's on our board now. He's an investor now. He brought to the table more investors, and so the financial part of it was lightening, right? I mean, it was lifting. And so then Raley's contacted us. So we moved to Raley's. Obviously, they want to compete for delivery shares. Amazon's coming to town with Whole Foods. Walmart's starting to deliver. Target. Delivery is everything now. Everybody wants delivery, and we're a delivery company. And now we have the technology. So we meet with Raley's. They love us. We love them. I mean, it was a really good partnership.
Mike Teal was on the show last week, and we talked about you, and he's excited about your guys' partnership.
It is unreal. So we tested in we integrated our systems. We tested in Roseville in about October, November. We launched Natomas, and immediately out of the gate, 2 weeks later, they're like, let's do everything. We want an exclusive agreement. Let's do Reno, Chico, every single area down through the Bay Area with Nob Hill Foods. And so we just started popping up these cities, integrating our systems. They would market on their site, you can pick pickup or you can pick delivery, because they've had e-car pickup for a long time. Yeah. Now the delivery widget's there. When you hit delivery, it drops into our system and we deliver their food. So they shop it, we deliver it.
So the business is transformed, and today marks a day where you are moving toward franchises in a very hometown way, I would say.
For sure. So we run through several months, lots of money to build the franchising model, all the legal stuff. We just got approved in California, Virginia, Texas. So all these states are now starting to get approved for franchising. Yesterday, we just finished our Berkeley and our Carlsbad, California franchisee training. These are the first 2 from scratch franchises. They just finished on yesterday. Today, actually, when I leave the show, we're going to go back down to the office, and all my managers who'd been running Food to You all these years and have been sticking it out, waiting for us to do something great, basically are taking over their own markets as a franchisee. So they're signing all the contracts today, and we're handing over their business now in their markets.
They're becoming entrepreneurs.
Yep.
They stood by you through all of these trials and tribulations, and now you've made it worth the wait, worth the effort.
Absolutely. And they were entrepreneurs at heart anyway, sticking with us, doing the thing, sweat equity, building their areas on our behalf. Now it's come full circle. It'll be on their behalf.
Incredible story. Darren, I want to just one last question before we go. So you see me out there on the billboards all over the place. In fact, I think you sent me a text one time. I'm already sick of seeing you, Mark. Well, you are all over the Golden One. Your Food Jet stuff is all on the billboards at Golden One. I'm out there on marquee media billboards around town. Who's more famous, me or you?
Oh, you bet.
I don't know about that. Your trucks or your little cars are all over town.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Food Jets. Any closing thoughts as we head to break?
No, I just hope that, like, when I listen to the show, it's nice to take a tidbit of information and listening to people's stories. I'm not unique. This is happening in all entrepreneurs' lives. I mean, the ups and downs of finances. It's business. You wear it 24/7. It's tough to get away from it. Matter of fact, you can't get away from it. And lots of people don't make it. But the ones that do, my point is, yes, it could have been easy just to, at that point, said, screw it, I'm done, bankrupt, move to something else, go mow Mark's lawns, which I would do. But most entrepreneurs aren't like that. You would have to kill me and drag me out of those offices. They would have to lock the doors because I didn't pay them to keep me away from building the business. And you have more of a focus now, right? I have my parents to pay back. I have employees. We have hundreds of people now dependent on us making the right decisions and grinding it out and getting through to the next level. And we're not out of the woodwork, out of the woods yet. I mean, we are in a much, much better spot. We can breathe now. But it's so funny. I've been doing this so long, and now we're more excited now than we were back in the day, and it's been 24 years. And so I think our goal is to be a national brand in 2 to 3 years with franchising. I mean, that is the ultimate goal.
Darren McAdams, Food Jets, talking about commitment to the cause, commitment to finishing and growing the business right here, based out of Sacramento. Next week we have Uriah Faber coming on, along with Jason Bartlett. Yeah, a couple of my buddies from the Entrepreneurs Organization of Sacramento sharing their stories. When we come back, I'm going to have some closing thoughts about the routines that it takes in life to win in business. Join the revolution at HaneyBiz.com, courtesy of Ethan Conrad Properties and financial advisors, Stifel Financial. This is the Haney Biz Project.
Welcome back to the Marquee Media Studio for Mark's takeaways from today's Haney Biz Project.
All great change in America begins at the dinner table. I'm back here with my main man, the marine entrepreneur, Marcus Haney. Marcus, you know who said that?
You tell me, Pops.
Let me tell you, my son. It was Ronald Reagan. It's one of my favorite quotes. We got the statue right there in the back. But don't you think, Marcus, we've been talking about food today. Sometimes we get our food delivered. Sometimes we go over to an event center like we do over at Randy Peters. Sometimes we go into Jimboy's Tacos. How much is society changed, though? We're not sitting at the dinner table as much like we did like when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's really interesting, right? I mean, you can get stuff delivered to you by numerous apps from any restaurant in the area. So I think it takes a entrepreneurial type mindset to really look and pivot to be where the puck is going to be next for this food industry, right?
No question. But it's these routines, I think, that shape us, whether it be dinner, at sitting around the dinner table and talking about the stories
Lucky
of the
underwear.
Day. Well, yeah. Marcus is reminding me of the first segment where I talked about my lucky underwear. But these traditions put you in the right mindset. They shape our philosophies, and I think ultimately that affects our outcome, right? The results, whether we're winning, whether we're losing, whether we're banging or not. Marcus?
No, absolutely, right? I mean, you got nothing if you don't have a routine, right? So if you go into the day without a plan of attack, just like you would in the Marine Corps, they always taught us, you got to put yourself in a position to win at every single turn, every single fight, every single opportunity. You got to be ahead of the game.
Yeah, and today, I heard Randy focus. Randy's the creative guy over at the catering company. I think Randy mentioned profitability probably at least 2 or 3 times as he's thinking about those. So you think about entrepreneurship, and I mean, so many times we start off with these big dreams, and then there's the, we have to obsess and overcome so many obstacles. It's not easy. We heard that from Darren McAdams. It's never easy. We have to figure out a way to create routines around raising money from our customer, selling, right? There's so many times I hear entrepreneurs that come in here to Mark Tank, here in the Marquee Media Studios, and they're talking about, hey, Mark, can I pick your brain? And so many times the answers lie in what these routines are throughout the day, and many times there's not as much focus or routine or habit around driving sales. We don't see that as much as we can. And so I think about some of our companies, right? I think about our surveillance company, which was the fastest growing security integrator in the country last year, and they have a routine, right? It's a routine that I carried with from my old companies into these new companies, but these guys make 10 calls by 9 o'clock in the morning. That is their routine. They call it 10 by 9, right? We call that, a rhythm that helps start the day correctly. You make 10 calls quickly in the morning, then even if you leave a message, even if you don't get a hold of anybody, you've started the day with some activities, 10 calls, 10 prospecting calls as you start each day, because we have to grow our sales, right? Those are routines, and there's so many others that we have to, think about, but so many times we have distractions, right? There's all these cool things about entrepreneurship. There's all these ideas, all these ventures that sometimes we have to say no and we have to ditch the distractions. Don't we, Marcus?
No doubt. I mean, a lot of times, especially for me as a young entrepreneur, it's almost like drinking from a water hose a little bit. You have, customer acquisition. You have the HR piece. You got figuring out how you're going to get that return in and out the door again. So,
yeah.
I think that you got to ditch the distractions. And, I take that to heart for myself, right? And I think that if we can look at ourselves in the mirror well and say, hey, I got to be more like that, I think that you'll be all right.
Figure out what a base hit is and just hit it where they ain't, right? Knock the ball around the field and put the ball in play over and over and over again. And so many times that is reaching out to our customer, that means making some sales, driving some revenue. So just as we think about entrepreneurship, it is not easy. And I'm a food guy. It starts with putting food on the table for my family. Right. It starts with what happens at the dinner table. That is my biggest responsibility. That's what I got to do. So all of those people out here are riding this roller coaster of entrepreneurship. You know, there are ups, there are downs. Sometimes it's scary, sometimes it's painful, but it is always a wild ride. So just a shout out to all the people out there that are fighting the good fight for entrepreneurship, all those like yourself, Marcus, who have fought the good fight for our freedom, our security, and our way of life. And you know what? To the 13 stripes, to the 50 stars, and to that one big American dinner table we all love fighting for, yours. Never above you, never below you, always by your side.